Hi, morning everyone. Welcome back to my live broadcast. Today is 10th November 2020, Tuesday, right? Okay, so last night the market has been quite, let's say, quite volatile, right? This is great uphill. This uphill mostly is caused by the news of Pfizer, the vaccine maker, right? So Pfizer yesterday said that early data shows that COVID-19 vaccine is 90% effective. So authorities have suggested it's unlikely any vaccine will arrive much before end of the year, and limited initial supplies will be rationed. So this is great news because if we really can have the vaccine before the end of the year, so the economy recovery will speed up, right? So that's why this stimulated by this news. Yesterday, the U.S. market, last night the U.S. market, it gave us great upheavals, right? Later we will check in details, and then you check the performance for Pfizer, right? And also it's quite dramatic, and people have been paying attention to the price movement of Pfizer and don't know how to deal with it. And similar situation happened for Aspen and for DBS. Okay, so for Aspen, there is another news. Later I share with you. And yesterday, that's a big rise for Aspen. But today, we see that a drop quite a lot when some other stocks quite bullish today. So for DBS, also it's quite tricky because recent rally, it's a big one. Someone feeling regretted, didn't enter before, and someone thinking whether or not should chase after it now, and some others are thinking, well, maybe should wait to see whether we have bigger chances in future for DBS. Don't want to jump into it too quickly, right? Too fast. So how to deal with these three shares and the current market situation? Later we talk about the details, right? And then the second part for today, still it will be an individual stock diagnosis. You need to WhatsApp me your individual stocks. WhatsApp me, all right? The name of your stock, the price you entered, or if you haven't yet bought, maybe you still need to tell me you're looking to buy or something. The more details you provide me, the more detailed advice I can give you, right? And I emphasize again, if you want me to diagnose your individual stocks, you need to WhatsApp me. This is my WhatsApp number, all right? 65923123009. Okay? You can WhatsApp me now because later when I say it's the time for stock diagnosis, we can begin immediately so that I will not waste your time, right? Okay, so if you have any stock to diagnose now, you can WhatsApp me now. Okay. Okay, all right. Before we begin, I still need to remind you that all the stocks mentioned in this video are for the purpose of demonstration and education, not recommendation. Investors should be aware of the risks involved in stock trading and take full responsibilities for their own tradings. Okay? All right, let's check the market performance. Okay, so this is our STI, right? So for STI, yesterday, this is the chart for yesterday, right? The price already reached the significant resistance level we mentioned yesterday, which is around 2,640, right? But today we see the market gap up open for our STI. A gap up open, still great rally today. So let's check the latest value for STI is 2,685.99. 2,685 points, right? Okay, so interestingly, you see that level is around the high price of this previous yellow Tai Chi signal. You check the value here is around 2,785. So this still would be some sort of resistance here, right? But considering after the upward gap today, it's big rise for STI today, 2.91% of rally for STI. That's really big rally. So you check the history performance for STI. This is also quite a rare occurrence for a long time until now, right? So it rarely occurs. This is rare occurrence, and this is also stimulated by the news, the Pfizer vaccine news, right? But if you check the performance recently, this rally already has been a very big one. And when the price reached the high price of the previous yellow Tai Chi signal, still the probability is very high that in near future, the price might drop first, at least for short term. It is required from the angle of technical analysis that there should be a correction in near future, at least a short-term correction. Of course, in future, if the correction comes, the price drop to touch the 2,640 level again, this will be a support in future. And if in future the price drop to the level, get support and turn upward again, then the conclusion we can come to will be STI, the Singapore market is reversing from medium-term to long-term bearish to medium-term to long-term bullish. This might mean great opportunities for a longer time for Singapore market. That would be great news. And even if in future the correction a breakdown, the 2,640 level here, a drop further, as long as in future the price can stop dropping further around the 2,500 level here. This is 2,500 here, right? And then turn upward again. We still have hope or chances that in future the price might go up above the 2,640 level again. Also, by then it will be confirmed long-term bullish reversal, medium-term to long-term bullish reversal. Means what? Previously, I mentioned about the banks like DBS, right? So if you have missed the recent forceful rally for the banks, right? It doesn't matter. If really in future we have a medium-term to long-term bullish rally here for the Singapore market, we will have enough time to buy in DBS and hold maybe for medium-term to long in the bullish market. Your profit will be maximized. So the recent rally for DBS, you don't have to feel sorry that you didn't catch it. Because if really the market is going to be bullish for longer time, you buy, then after a rally by 50% or maybe even 100%, you look back, you will feel that, wow, this is just a small rise. You still bought at the bottom area, around the bottom area. It's not a real low. The real low back in March, right? But when you look back after a while, you will realize it's quite a low position. So means you don't just focus on the current market, the current rally. You need to focus on the long-term performance, you need to see the bigger picture. See the bigger picture, not just the current market situation. Okay, so this is for our Singapore market, right? So resistance level already arrived and higher probability might drop first. And then for US market last night also, after the news came out for the Pfizer vaccine here, right? And we see the most dramatic price movement. It happens on Dow Jones. You see, for Dow Jones, there's a big upward gap. And last night, the price for Dow Jones, it went up by 2.95% last night. So it closed around 29,157.97 points. So you can see this big upward gap here. This looks so frightening, right? And especially during the trading slot, it used to rush to a very high level, as high as 29,933, almost 30,000. That's quite crazy, right? But when we have the news about the vaccine, people initially become overreacted. That is overreaction here. This big upward gap and also the rush here to be around 29,933. That's irrational overreaction. So after that, when the let's say the news little by little become cools down, right? And people recover the rationality, then feel that wow, this is too big rise, and then when finally the market a gap up open, but a close at a lower price. Although we still have this big upward gap here, but the candle pattern here looks not very nice, right? This looks a bit bearish candle pattern here because people feel that this is a rational rally. Investors want to correct it. That's why the market open high but close low. Okay, and considering Dow Jones here break up a new high, right? It seems like finally the market is about to finish the sideways period here. Maybe in future would continue going up, right? But hold on, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. For this short-term rally here is too false for one. So the candle pattern here last night also is not very nice. It's a bit bearish pattern here. So also higher probability in near future the US market would drop first. Dow Jones, although it hit a new high, higher probability it might drop first. And when it begin to drop, firstly, it will try to cover this gap here, this upward gap here. In future, maybe would be covered first. When the gap is covered, it will be around the previous yellow Tai Chi signal open price here. The value is around 28,411. Okay, so when the gap is covered in future, this would be some sort of support. But if the downward momentum still is quite strong, then it might even drop further to touch the yellow lines below. Okay, the yellow lines would be the second strong support level in future. Okay, so what we know is after the vaccine news, in the long run, the stock market general direction would be upward, no doubt, because if everything turns out to be quite smoothly, by the end of this year, we would have vaccine. Okay, but although maybe at the very beginning, not enough to to allow everybody get vaccine, but at least we will have hope and the economy would recover at a faster speed with the vaccine, right? So means in the long run, the market, US market and all the rest of the stock markets would go upward, keep going up in future. That's the general direction, upward. But for the short term, a correction is required. A correction is necessary. Yesterday, I also mentioned, if hadn't they been for the vaccine news, right? So I think it's very difficult for the price to break up the resistance level here. Okay, the reason why the market can break up the resistance level with the upward gap, that's because of the vaccine news. But the news, the influence for long term, we say the market would go up. But for short term, already we got the news. People already passed the irrational overreaction period. Then people would recover to a rationality. Then we need a correction first. Okay, either the correction would touch the upward gap, the bottom here, stop dropping further, or it even drop further to touch the yellow lines in future, then maybe turn upward again. Okay, so means what? If you want to chase after the rally here, that may not be a very wise choice. Okay, this is for Dow Jones. And then for Nasdaq, we see last night also it gap up open, reached the previous high. But you see for Nasdaq, it's not as dramatic as Dow Jones because it really didn't hit a new high. It reached the previous high, but then dropped. And we see last night the price still below the high price of the yellow Tai Chi signal here, right? So this is very strong resistance. Even with the stimulus of the vaccine, the price still cannot really break up the resistance here. So we know how strong the resistance here is. And in near future, still high probability the price might drop first. Correction is necessary. And this candle pattern here is really bearish pattern. This is the bearish engulfing, right? Bearish engulfing here. Okay, so this is about Nasdaq. And then for S&P 500, it also gap up open and used to rush to a very high level, hit a new high. But in the end, it still dropped below the high price of the previous yellow Tai Chi signal. The high price is around 3,567 points, close within below the level. So in near future, if there is a correction, the gap would be covered and then maybe drop further to touch the yellow lines below. Yellow lines of homely rainbow would be very strong support in future. Okay, so this is about the market performance we have checked. In conclusion, in the long run, stimulated by the vaccine knowledge, vaccine news, in the long run, the market would go up. The general direction would be upwards because the economy would recover, right? But for short term, okay, all the major indexes here, Singapore, US, and also the other markets, faced with the strong resistance level after a very forceful, too forceful short-term rally. So a correction would be a very likely come. Correction is necessary. Okay, so this is the market performance. Then let's continue to check the individual stocks, the hot potatoes. I call them hot potatoes, Pfizer, DBS and Aspen, because it's very difficult to deal with them. Firstly, Pfizer, right? Okay. Influenced by the news, right? The Pfizer news, it came out in late afternoon. Okay, when we got the news, it's late afternoon yesterday, and we see before the market open, right? Before the market open, the price already went up by more than 10%. But when the market opened, then it dropped directly. So open high but close low. This pattern here, this is not a very bullish pattern, right? This is a bit bearish pattern, because people, this up big upward this gap up open here is caused by irrational overreaction. Also irrational overreaction, but rationality would finally come back, so the price would drop. And then how to deal with the share? Definitely, last night we don't want to chase after it when the market opened, because the market opened, they dropped directly. No one would want to jump into it last night, right? So what we are concerned with is, in future, do we still have opportunities for this one? Considering if really the vaccine is successful, the Pfizer vaccine, now it's set at very, very high success rate, right? And really, if in future it becomes the successful one, then maybe we have a greater chances for this one, right? So how do we know whether or not we should enter and at a safer timing, right? At a safer position, how to deal with? Remember, I've shared with you half level of long candle. It applies for long bullish candle, also applies for long bearish candle. And considering this is a long bearish candle here, so the half level here is very important level to check. Okay, and then because yesterday also is a very big upward gap here, we also need to take care that maybe in near future the price might drop to cover the gap first. Okay, when it drops to touch the top of the gap, if it turn upward again, means the upward momentum still is quite strong, right? But if it drop further to cover the whole of the upward gap here, then means the rally here, for at least for short term, may not be that strong. The upward momentum may not be that strong. If it's covered, the gap is covered in the short term, means this is a normal upward gap. This is not a special one. Special upward gap, usually it will not be covered in the short term, and the price can get support at the top of the gap and then turn upward again, then give us maybe a very forceful rally for a relatively speaking longer time. That kind of gap is called a special upward gap. But if the gap is covered in the short term, then it's just a normal gap. All the normal gaps would be covered in just several days, 3 or 4 or 5 days will be covered. Okay, but special gaps will not be covered in the short term. Okay, so means one level to check is the top of this upward gap here, right? The other level to check is the half level of this long bearish candle. Suppose the price in near future, maybe tonight, a drop to touch the top of this upward gap. If I draw in a more accurate way, it should be like this. It should be like this, right? So if the price drop, okay, the half level, it drop to touch the top of the upward gap and then turn upward again, right? Turn upward again, so, and the price can break up the half level here, can really stand stably above the half level here, we can consider to enter. But if the price cannot break up the half level here, then drop again. Better still, wait and see, stay sidelined. That's one kind of possibility. The other possibility, if the price is continue dropping further to cover the whole of the gap, and then turn upward again, maybe the upward momentum is not that strong already, right? Maybe if you really want to try, you need to follow the indicator here. Because this would, when the gap is covered here, also there would be some support. If the price gets support here, then turn upward again. For short-term speculation, maybe you can try, but the half level here would be very strong resistance. It's not easy for the price to break up the half level here. Means the rising space is limited. The rising space in future would be between the bottom of the upward gap and the half level of this long bearish candle here. If you are not a speculative investor, right, you don't want to take so high risks, maybe you don't want to participate. But if you want to do some super short-term speculation, you want to play, well, you can play. Better you check the minute chart, okay? You check the minute chart, that will be the best for you to do some super short-term speculation, okay? But if you're not that type, we better wait until the price can safely go back above the half level of this long bearish candle. This one, in future, still maybe we have opportunity, but the problem is you want to do some speculation at high risks, or you want to catch a safer profit, right? Different types of investors, your strategies should be different. I already shared with you, okay? This is for Pfizer. And then for Aspen, why I want to talk about Aspen? Because yesterday also news came out that for Aspen, it is a property developer, right? But it is going to become a glove maker. So it's going to become a glove maker, and also it is proposing to place up to 100 million new shares at an issue price of Singapore dollar 23.8 cents to raise up to Singapore dollar 23.8 million. The news, it came out yesterday, right? Okay, so means it is going to issue new shares, and also it is going to become a glove maker. It's going to produce gloves in future. Okay, so stimulated by the news during the trading slot yesterday, right? So this is yesterday. We have the price it went up by more than 15%. I remember, yeah, it's 15% of rally yesterday. Okay, but is it really a wise choice to chase after it? If you, I remember the news, it came out in the noon. When I had finished the live broadcast yesterday, it's around 1 p.m., right? And later, very quickly, I got the news that Aspen is going to issue new shares and is going to make gloves in future. So the news, it came out in the noon. So is it really wise to chase after the rally in the afternoon, right? Actually, the answer is no. Because you know, my principle, I already shared with you, never chase after the rally. This is my trading principle, which I strictly abide by. And yesterday, the pattern, when the market closed already, right? The patterns here seems beautiful. The retailers gone completely. And if we check the red and white circle, yeah, the price break up the high of the first red circle, right? But today, when we decide to buy or not, we need to check the the real-time chart, right? So if we go to the real-time chart for Aspen, 1F3, Aspen, oh, it's not. Give me a moment. This is Singapore. Let me change to Singapore market first. Okay, 1F3. Okay, so what we see is today it opened lower than the open price of yesterday. So this is a big drop. So yesterday it went up by 15%. Now already all gone. 15% of profit all gone because the market it opened very low, lower than the open price yesterday, right? So if you chase after a late afternoon yesterday, that's really not a very good option, right? So that's why I always mention never chase after the rally. Okay, so what we see now is the price is at the support of the red circle, right? It's at the support of the red circle. If in near future the price get support, can go up again. So maybe still this one have opportunity in future. And which level to check? You check the high price for today, okay? The high price for today is 0.275. So 27 cents. That level actually will be the close price of the first red circle. You check the first red circle back on 27th November. The high price is 0.275. It's the same price, right? So this would be strong resistance level. In future, if the price can really break up this level, maybe the price can go up again. Okay? And it go up. If can break up the half level of this bullish candle here, right? And then means the upward momentum is quite strong, you can keep holding. But if the price cannot break up the half level, it drop again, you need to be careful. If next time it gets support again, turn upward again, maybe you still can keep holding. But if it touch the half level here, unable to break up the resistance here, and then drop, and even drop lower than this candle today, you need to stop loss. Okay, so this is how we should deal with Aspen. If you you want to let's say catch the potential opportunities, you can do it like this. Okay, the high price of today's candle, firstly to check whether or not can break up, and if can break up, you enter to check the half level of this long bullish candle here, whether or not can break up. If can break up, then you are lucky and you can secure the profits. If not, it cannot break up, it drop, you better set your stop loss level, then stop loss. Okay, the stop loss level can be the circle turn color to white, because now the price is not very far away from the circle. If the price drop to be lower than the circle, so your loss will be still within a small amount. So it's within control. As long as the risks within control, then we don't have to worry so much, right? Okay, so this is about Aspen, right? Aspen. And then the other one is about DBS. Actually, at the very beginning, I already mentioned DBS. How to deal with DBS? Now we see after the big upward gap, the price already hit take the previous high here. The previous high back in June, okay? And we have the Tai Chi signal, the previous yellow Tai Chi here, considering the price already break up. And then this is a big upward gap, right? So in near future, if STI give us the correction, the banks also would correct first. So if it corrects, firstly, it might cover the gap here. After the gap is covered, this would be support level. The previous high level would be the support. And then if turn upward again, then maybe we can consider to trade the DBS, or maybe not even trade for short term. Maybe can consider buy and hold for medium term to long term. Okay, so this is for DBS. How to deal with it? Now, if you haven't yet bought it, you stay sidelined and keep monitoring. If you have bought, in near future, you better find a chance to take profit for short term first. Because this candle here also is not a very beautiful candle, a gap up open, but a close low until now, right? Although it's still a big upward gap here, but the candle pattern here is not a very beautiful one. In near future, faced with the selling pressure because of the general market performance, STI might drop very likely in near future. DBS also would follow suit. So short term is already quite dangerous now. Okay, so for short term trading, you already have bought before. Better find a timing to take profit recently. Okay, this is how to deal with banks. Okay, so after we check the current market situation and also the hot potatoes like Pfizer, Aspen, and DBS, what I want to share with you today is sometimes the market might overreact because of some very important news. But after the overreaction, the feeling passed out, then rationality would recover. We should never chase after the rally. We should never, let's say, follow the irrational emotion to jump into the market. Okay, we need to keep cool as a cucumber, and then to make a wiser choice. Okay, safety is always the most important thing in the market. We make sure we are safe. On that precondition, then we try to catch some opportunities. Okay, so now let me check your individual stocks. Who has sent me stocks? Let me check. Okay, so there is one friend who wants to check venture. Venture, let me check. Yeah, yesterday I mentioned about venture. Yesterday we see the price, actually it went up yesterday, but today a open low and also drop further until now, right? And how to deal with this? So I'm not sure whether you are holding or you are looking to buy, right? So if you have bought, let's say, you have bought here, when the market gap down open, it opened lower than the open price yesterday. For me, actually, short-term trading, I would stop loss first. But if you didn't, right? If you didn't stop loss, you already missed opportunities to stop loss earlier. Now the price is at the support of the risk circle. You can still keep monitoring a while. If the price it continue dropping further, better you need to stop loss. Okay, you better need to stop loss, because I mentioned we cannot expect that our trading every time is a successful one. Sometimes we might be wrong. No matter how experienced you are, how great trading skills you have, sooner or later, or sometimes you will be wrong. Even the masters like Warren Buffett, also would be wrong sometimes. So the more important thing is, if you are wrong, how to deal with it, how to make up for it, which is stop loss. We have to admit that we are wrong sometimes and stop loss. As long as you stop loss, you will avoid bigger drops in future, bigger risks in future, and sooner or later you can always get much more profit than you have lost here if you have an effective trading system, right? Okay, so this is for venture. If you haven't yet bought, you can keep monitoring this one. If it go back, turn upward above the high price of the first recircle again, can consider to buy again. If you have already bought, you can consider stop loss. And you haven't yet stop loss, right? You can consider stop loss when the price drop further. The circle turn white, better stop loss, because now the price also is around the yellow line of homely rainbow. Okay, so this is for venture. Okay, so the other one is, okay, so signing deal. I also talked about signing deal yesterday actually, and it's quite interesting. Today it just a gap down open. I don't know, maybe there is some news about this signing deal. I didn't check, right? I didn't check, but there is a big downward gap today. So the first recircle, the buy point, is never yet confirmed. Has never been confirmed, right? So this is why I said, if you want to be quite safe, you better wait for the confirmation after the first recircle. Based on the trading system, yesterday, first recircle, that's a potential buy point. But when the market gap down open directly today, so we never have to buy, right? Because we never have the confirmation. The confirmation is the high price should be higher than the high of the first recircle candle here. So we can avoid a big downward gap if you follow the trading principles. Let me repeat again. Strictly following your trading system is very important. As long as you strictly abide by it, most of the times you can make profit and even great profits. And even if you are not lucky, you lose money, it will be small amount. It will never be big loss. Okay. Okay, so this is for your stocks, right? So anyone else to diagnose? If no one else, maybe you can, if you still have stocks to diagnose, you can talk with me after the live broadcast. All right. So before we finish, right? So don't forget to give me thumb ups if you like the video. All right. Give me some ups and also share with your friends, which maybe the video and the methods might also help your friends if you share with them. Okay, and if more and more people can come join me together, then I will have a greater motivation to produce a better contents for you. Okay, so your encouragement will be my biggest motivation. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.